So again, this is our One World Zohar study. And so wherever we are using these verses in the Zohar to connect to the upper realm and to channel energy of blessings and healing and whatever lacks we can think of that we need. But specifically, we want to channel the energy of healing for everyone we know who needs healing. We want to channel the energy of ahavat chinam, unconditional love. We want to end the negativity in the world and also end conflict in the world, and also channel the energy of treating everyone with human decency. So that brings us to verse 165. Anyone want to volunteer to read English for us today?
I read.
All right, Ron, awesome. So if you wouldn't mind, start off with you know what, I'm going to read 165 in the Aramaic, and then we're going to read the relevance, and then we'll continue. This way, when we're connecting to the Zohar in the Aramaic, this is a connection to the upper realm. We are, every letter of the Zohar, every word, every verse, every paragraph is infused with the energy from the upper realm. It is a portal to the upper realm of fulfillment. So let me read that, and then we can start to unpack in a deeper way what's available to us. 165. Al davi yikach mi'itam et Shimshon begin de la yikatreg lahadei de Levi. Begin de Shimon v'Levi kad mitchabran tarvavihu yachle lekarga v'yesor oto le'einehem ha'okmu le'einehem asaru levatar denavku haba me'achil le umashke le. Ron.
Okay, the relevance. Judgments decreed against us are measured and meted out in accordance to the degree and severity of judgments we pass on our friends and foes.
Okay, so what this is telling us, quite simply, is picture judgment. The energy of judgment is like a window. You want to judge someone, you've opened the judgment window. You open the judgment window, judgment's coming in against you. So if we don't want to be judged, don't go about judging people or judging situations or judging anything for that matter, because you open yourself up to judgment. Now, easier said than done, because probably, likely, if not certainly, we're all judging from time to time. I mean, the idea is to catch ourselves. We're all judging from time to time. It's in our blind spot. We are, because we have physicality that we're dealing with. We're wired to worry about us. It's our ego. And so part of what we're getting here is this ability to have a greater consciousness about when we're judging. And in that way, protect ourselves from the judgment of others. Okay, keep going.
Trust in the Creator encompasses certainty in laws of cause and effect, which dictate that all our enemies will be correctly judged without our having to participate in the correction process.
Okay, so like I said to you, like, don't judge that situation. I'm not the judge. You're not the judge. Let's not judge. The universe will take care of it. Really? I mean, I see a lot of crazy things going on. I don't see the universe doing anything. Okay, well, this is cause and effect. So part of what we are gaining here is a level of certainty that the world is wired with cause and effect. It's karma. Somebody does something, there's going to be a karmic reaction to that. Everything we do, cause and effect, cause and effect. I know, but I don't see that. I know. If you saw it, it'd be too easy. There's this element of time. There's a delay between cause and effect in our realm. In the upper realm, there's no delay. That's why no one does anything wrong. You see the consequences immediately. If I were to pick your pocket and take $100 out to put it in mine, $100 would be coming right out of my back pocket. I would see the consequences of my actions immediately, so I won't do anything. Here, we don't see those consequences. So it gives us the ability to actually evolve beyond that nature. Time is this delay is giving us the ability to engage in the process and elevate our souls. Go ahead.
A person who has attained spiritual enlightenment accepts any wrongs committed against him as payment for negative actions he may have committed in the past. This wise perspective is stimulated by the divine light of this Hebrew script.
Okay, so part of what we're getting as we connect with these, with the Aramaic, with these words, is an understanding that when something happens to us, those consequences that happens, there's a reason. We don't always see the reason. So I wish there was a way I could share this. There is. Let me see if I can figure it out though. So if any of you have read the book, And You Shall Choose Life, one of Robert Schlag's books, there's this whole teaching about 4 levels of consciousness, which every circumstance we encounter can fit into one of these situations. It actually is the material from the 10th class of Kabbalah 3. If I can pull it up on the screen, I'm gonna do that. But we have the choice of looking at every circumstance, everything that happens to us, and looking at it like, oh my God, I'm just a complete victim. I can't believe this happened. Or I can look at it and say, there's light in this experience. And part of what we're going to get from this section is the ability to understand that it's coming from the light. The most challenging situations that we encounter are all coming from the light to assist us on our journey. But that's not an easy consciousness. It's an elevated consciousness, and it takes work to get there. And how do I get there? By really taking a step back and not being and pausing. Pause, what a pleasure. That's step 1. Actually, pause is step 1. What a pleasure is step 2. And give us the ability to not react, to not get all emotional, and to feel the pain of what's going on. No one's saying we should numb ourselves to what's going on, but to try and see that the light is in that situation. So one of the ways that we have to develop that higher consciousness is to actually work on the situations that we encounter. Another way is to connect to the Zohar. So this Zohar gives us the ability to rise above that reactivity, to see the light in every situation. Okay, Ron, can you continue with 165?
Sure. He therefore took from them Simeon so that he would not indict him together with Levi. For when they came together, Simeon and Levi might bring accusations.
Okay, so among Jacob's sons were Simon and Levi. So the context of this story is Jacob, there's a famine in the land. So Jacob sends the 10 sons down to get food. Unbeknownst to the 10 sons, their 11th brother, who they sold into slavery, is now viceroy of Egypt, controlling all the food and treasury of the most powerful nation in the world at the time. But they didn't know that. So they go down there, and Joseph sees them. They don't recognize him. Why didn't they recognize him? It was in their blind spot. They're not thinking about Joseph. They don't want to think about what they did to him. They're certainly not thinking he's the second most powerful guy in Egypt. They're blind to it. This is us. Like what you can't conceive of, you don't even see. And I mean all. We don't see the things that we don't consider within the realm of possibilities, we don't see. If you want to see angels, you have to consider that they're there. So that's why they didn't see him. So one of the things, So one of the things that Joseph does is he says, I don't trust you. You guys are just down here to spy on the land. He attacked them right away and put them on the defensive. And they said, no, we're not here to spy. We just need food. He said, okay, listen, tell me about yourselves. And they said they have another brother back home. Who was the other brother? We're going to read all this tomorrow morning. Who's the other brother? Benjamin. Benjamin is Joseph's full brother from the same mother. So he says to them, fine, if you bring Benjamin back, I'll know you're true to your word. But in the meantime, I'm taking Simon and I'm throwing him in jail. I'm going to hold him as my surety that you'll come back. So what the Zohar is saying, though, is why did he pick Simon? Because he knew that Simon and Levi, when they're together, these guys are tough energy. Literally, when their sister was sexually assaulted, they went in and they destroyed the whole town of Shechem. So Simon and Levi represent this tremendous energy of judgment. And so to neutralize that, Joseph separates the two of them. Okay, keep going.
The phrase "and bound him before their eyes" means that he arrested him only in front of their eyes. When they left, he gave them food and drink.
So in the Torah, in the Bible's description of this event, he says, "I'm going to hold on to Simon." He calls his guards over. They throw a bag over his head, and they take him away. Why does the Torah have to say that? And the Zohar is pointing out that he treated Simon that way only in front of the brothers. When he was no longer in front of the brothers, he treated him like he was a brother. He gave him food and drink. In other words, he wasn't here for revenge. It looks like on the face of it that this entire encounter is Joseph's opportunity for revenge against the brothers that sold him, that threw him into a pit with scorpions, sold him into slavery, and hated him. This is his opportunity. He now has the upper hand. He could have told him, go home and starve. You're a bunch of losers. But he didn't do that. So this is our prime example of restricting our own judgment. He is not judging them. Even though on the surface it looks that way. That's not what's happening. And so for us, it's also giving us the ability to pause and let events play out. We think that this is bad. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. We have like little snippets of data points. We have no idea. So we do know when we react, but the goal is to not react. The goal is to let things play out. And the goal is to remind ourselves that there is light in this process, that this process is actually there to assist us on our journey. Okay. 166. V'itema dir'uta de Yosef ihu, begin d'chtiv im ra'ev sona'acha ha'achilehu lechem v'insameh hashkechu mayim, ihachi Yosef di'ihu zaka'a, hechi aved hache, d'hakativ ki gechalim ata, chote al rosho v'Hashem yishalem lach.
It may be said that Joseph acted according to the verse, "If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink." Okay,
so that's a verse from Mishlei. So you could look at this situation and say, no, Joseph was just like abiding by the general rules of how to treat your brother. Excuse me, of how to treat your enemy. That's what the verse is about. If your enemy is hungry. In other words, there's a directive in the Torah, in the Bible, that says, hey, if you take captives, you're not responsible for their welfare. It could have been read in that way if he thought that they were his enemies. Go ahead.
For this reason, he fed Simon, who was his enemy. How could the righteous Joseph have behaved in such a manner? As the verse ends with the words, "For you shall heap coals of fire on his head, and Hashem shall reward you." It is not seemly for a righteous man to take revenge upon his brother.
It's not. It's not seemly. Because those are in capital letters. We know that is Rabbi Schlag's explanation of this particular Zohar. I mean, you could say, okay, it's bad optics for a brother not any brother, for a righteous soul. Joseph, he's literally Joseph the righteous, Yosef at Tzaddik. He's no ordinary son of Jacob, the patriarch. He's Joseph the righteous. That's how we know him now. And so, of course, it's bad optics, but that's besides the point. That's not what it is. It's about he did not see his brothers as enemies. Yes, Julie.
Yeah, this is just a general question I have, but since we're studying Miketz, and this is we scan the version 106, with our teachers when we do tithing. So I just wanted to confirm something I think I know, but Miketz is also strongly affiliated with financial abundance.
Yes, sustenance, both financial and spiritual sustenance. Absolutely. And yeah, Julie's right. There's a verse in here, 106. There's a series of verses that we read when we tithe. It's one of the practices that we engage in, because when we tithe, we're just paying a share to our partner, the Creator. That's what we're doing. We're giving a tenth to the Creator in the form of charity. But it's not charity. It has to go to a charity. You want to go into the purest source you can find. So yes, because Joseph the righteous is the channel for physical and spiritual sustenance. That's what he accomplished in his lifetime. He literally controlled all the wealth and food at this point in the world. Everyone was coming, because remember, he interpreted Pharaoh's dream that there will be 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine. So he said, Pharaoh, we need to start stockpiling food. There's going to be a terrible famine in this world. So they were prepared. That's how Joseph rose to prominence, that and the fact that Pharaoh saw that everything he did, he was successful with. He realized he was a very elevated soul. So yeah, this section is all about, to a great degree, is all about both physical and spiritual sustenance. No question. And okay. Ron, you want to keep going? Oh, we finished that section. Let's go to 167. Yeah. Okay.
7, right?
Ele chas v'shalom the Yosef lahachihu dechayesh. Ele kavar nash la'achoy hachi nami haba aved. It neheg imei be'achba ve'la begavna achara ve'la imei bilchodoi ele im kol achoy kama dichtiv yatzav Yosef yimal'u et klehem bar ulashiv kaspehem ish el siko ve'latid lahem tzeda ve'laderech ve'ya'as lahem ken begin anhaga imhon be'achba.
He answers, heaven forbid that Joseph had such intentions.
Right. He's not looking like at Simon or the others like they're his enemies. Again, he had plenty of reason why he could. Good.
His conduct toward him was only that of a man toward his brother, and in no other way. And not to him alone, but to all his brothers, he behaved so, as it is written. Then Joseph gave orders to fill their sacks with grain and to restore every man's money into his sack, and to give them provision for the way. And thus it was performed, all to be brotherly toward them.
So in his conduct, if you look at what he did, he treated them like brothers. If you look at what he said, he treated them like they were spies. So we have this paradox. On the one hand, Joseph is doing things like he would do because they're his brothers. On the other hand, he's treating them like they're spies. He called them out as spies. What's going on? Why is Joseph doing that? Why is Joseph doing that?
can I say something about that? Like,
Yeah, please.
you ever heard the phrase, it's funny because I think there's the judge is, in that statement, but never judge a person by their words or what they say, judge them by their actions, right? Because actions speak louder than words.
Actions speak louder than words. Exactly right. Okay, but what's going on here? Yes, Phyllis, I see your hand up. Phyllis? There you
Okay,
go.
yeah, I'm here. I just had to find the mute button. I don't know if I missed this or not, but do they know that this is Joseph, their brother?
They do not know.
I didn't think so.
They don't
Okay,
recognize him.
okay.
In the stage production of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, pretty sure he was out on wearing makeup, so maybe they didn't recognize him. Listen, he was dressed like an Egyptian viceroy.
Right. And they had no expectation he would be alive. So for them,
It's been years.
right,
Right. They didn't think it was alive. They sold him into slavery.
right.
It wasn't within the realm of possibilities in their head. So they couldn't see it. They didn't allow themselves to see it, really. And this is the problem with blockages. We have these blockages also. We can't see reality, a deeper reality, because we don't allow ourselves to consider the possibility. So part of what we're getting here also is this is why, like, when we go through the Zohar, like, one of my favorite things to do is let's just deconstruct reality. Deconstruct reality. It's not real. It's an illusion. I keep saying this is an illusion. Well, our teachers say that also. I mean, it's an illusion. I know it doesn't look like an illusion. I know it looks real. But it's 1% of reality. So there's other things going on in the other 99%. But it's a good question, Phyllis. We did talk about it. It's a very good question. Again, to not consider that question is to not fully appreciate the dynamic that's playing out in the Torah, in the Bible, as it's getting described, as we'll read tomorrow morning, is to not fully appreciate it. And we need to fully appreciate it because it's helping us to more fully appreciate our life and the challenges that we have. Don't look at what people say. I mean, you have to consider that. Look at their actions. Their actions speak louder than words. Okay, but why is Joseph doing that? Joseph is guided by the light.
Sorry.
He's not making a conscious decision. He's guided by the light. And the light's saying, treat them like spies. Because the light is giving the brothers the opportunity to do a correction for selling Joseph into slavery. And that's how the story plays out. They didn't protect Joseph. I mean, Joseph was young and naive and said some funny things, some dopey things at the time when he was young, boasting about his dreams, how they're all going to bow down to him, which they end up doing. But because he was so naive about it, he didn't realize how much enmity it was arousing in those brothers. They hated him. Oh my God, what? The guy is so full of himself. And they didn't protect him. They sold him to slavery. So now, as the light would have it, there's another brother from another mother. They're not their mother. There are only two children of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, and she dies giving childbirth. So this is like his blood. And he doesn't know if he's alive. How would Joseph didn't know that Benjamin survived. If they didn't like Joseph, maybe they wouldn't like Benjamin either. Maybe they resented him also. So when they say he's still alive, Joseph covers. He doesn't let his emotions get the best of him. He restricts. He says, okay, I want to see if you're telling the truth and you're not spies. Bring them to me, and then I'll sell you food. That's what he says. But what he does is he puts all the money back in the packs and he overstuffs their horses with food, the packs of food, and sends them on their way. And they're so confused. They don't know what's going on. They probably thought it was an accounting error. They don't want to show back up lest they be accused of stealing. But they have to go back, as we'll see, because the famine continues. You got to ask yourself a question. Why was there a famine? Things just happen at that time. No, the famine is the backdrop to give the brothers the opportunity to do a correction for selling Joseph into slavery. Did we read the 167 in the English run?
Yeah, it's 168.
All right, 168. Rabbi Yossi Petach Amar, Im Shleimim, V'chein Rabim, V'chein Nagozu, Ve'avar V'initicha Lo A'anech Od, Haikra Ogmua, Dechad Amalkuhu It Behu Shulam, La'it Behu Marei Devavu, Kuchabrihu Chayes Alehu, Ve'dina Lashalta Behu, Beho, Ve'avagav Dechuhu Palchei Lakochavim, V'inun Bishlam, Dina Lashalet Alayhu, V'ogmua Dichtiv, Chabur Atzabim Ephraim, Hanach Lo.
Rabbi Yossi continued with the verse, though they are at peace, and likewise many, even so they shall be cut down, and it shall pass away. Though I have afflicted you, I will afflict you no more.
Okay, so Rabbi Yossi, in trying to give us a way to understand that verse, the whole story with Simon, this whole situation, brings down a verse from the prophet Nahum. And we're now going to unpack that verse, or he's going to unpack it for us, so we can gain a deeper understanding of what the Zohar is trying to get us to say. But just so we're clear, we are gaining the ability to see that deeper reality, to see the things that we are blocked from seeing, to understand that when we judge, we're just opening a portal for judgment on us, that the world is a world of cause and effect. Even though it doesn't look that way, it is. And it primarily doesn't look that way because of the element of time, that whole time delay. But that time delay gives us the opportunity to work on ourselves and to do the correction before karma arrives. Okay, keep going.
This verse has been explained as follows. When the people are peaceful with no dissension in their midst, the Holy One, blessed be He, has pity on them, and judgment has no sway.
What does that mean? Unity outweighs them all. It's stating in terms of peace, and that's what the verse is about. But it's about unity. When we have a shared consciousness, when we have unity about havat chinam, unconditional love, when we have unity about treating everyone with human decency, when we have unity about not judging people, because that whatever they did, let the universe visit upon them the consequences if they can't correct in time. When we see ourselves as just beings of unconditional love, and we share that, we get protection. So the additional benefit we're getting from this section, it's not only about raising our consciousness to not judge the circumstances going around us, but it's the additional benefit of working to create peace and unity and a shared consciousness of peace and unity. And when we do that, we gain energy of protection. And the Zohar is going to take it one step further. Go ahead, Ron.
Even if they worship idols, if they are at peace, no judgment has power over them.
What? I thought idol worship was like one of the worst things. Oh, it is. What do you mean by idol worship? Does that mean like, I don't have any idols here right now. Does that mean just like a statue in the corner? It's about ascribing powers to a physical object. What do you mean? I have a red string on. Am I ascribing the powers of energy of protection from evil eye with that red string? Yeah, and I just, what's that about? No, the red string is something that's infused with energy. It's energy from the creator. It doesn't have any independent significance. It's a channel. So that's why the word for idol worship in Aramaic is not idol worship. It's avodat kochavim, those who pray to the stars. Sun worshipers. It's those who pray, meaning you can look at astrology and say, or the planets or the moon that have an influence on our realm, definitely, just look at the tides, but they have an influence on us and in our realm. And you could say they are of independent significance. They're their own gods. No, that's the work of the creator. They're just channeling the energy of the creator. It's the same stars. It's the same astrological signs. They're channeling energy of the creator. In some disciplines, they're viewed as being gods on their own. That's avodat kochavim. That's praying to the stars, literally. That's idol worship. And my go-to, for whatever reasons, is the rabbit's foot. My lucky rabbit's foot.
Can it also be though, David, like, if you land like, let's say you close a deal, or you get like this amazing job and you're like, oh yeah, that was all me. I'm awesome.
Right, that is also. It also could be, look, when I sign a deal, I'm always using this pen. It's my lucky pen. I signed a deal once, didn't work out. I didn't have this pen. See it? Get a look at it. You're never gonna get it. I'm joking. No, that kind of stuff too. It's ascribing a power to a physical object. Or, as Ron points out, it's a situation where I don't see that it was the light that did it for me. Now, those types of activities leave us vulnerable to a lot of negativity. We don't have energy of protection. But even if you're an idol worshiper and you have unity and peace, you get protection. That's how powerful it is. But think about it, because when we have unity, you have a consciousness that's a very elevated consciousness. We live in a world that appears to be fragmented. What do you mean, David? It is fragmented. I know it's fragmented. No, it's not, though. It just looks fragmented. It looks like we're all separate beings on our own, living in this chaotic world. There's no rhyme, there's no reason, there's no cause and effect. It's just, it is what it is. Carpe diem. Live today, for tomorrow you die. It's very simple. Yeah, this guy's a victim, that guy's a victim. No, that's not true. That's what it looks like. That's 1%. It's the 99% that's beyond what our senses tell us about what's going on in the world. And that's why it's so important to raise our consciousness, to connect to the Zohar, to connect to windows in time that give us the opportunity to elevate our consciousness, to see that deeper reality, and to make more informed decisions about what's going on. To use the tools, the proactive method, to restrict and say what a pleasure and invite the light in. It's as basic as that. Because the whole point, the reason we're on this path is to channel more energy of positivity and blessings in the world. And our ego and the Satan and the other side, their job is to get us off that path by attacking us when we're weakest. 3:30 in the morning when you wake up and you're not fully conscious, and all of a sudden you get bombarded with negative thoughts. This isn't going to work. I don't deserve this. I can't believe I was even thinking about it. It's a house of cards. It's all going to fall apart. I mean, it is a house of cards. The difference is that the light is holding up the house. Okay, finish up that section there, Ron.
Okay. It can also be explained in relation to the verse, Ephraim is joined to idols, let him alone. It means that even though they serve idols, if they are joined, let him alone.
This was the tribe of Ephraim. At some point in their desert journey, they were engaged in idol worship. They'd kind of lost the consciousness, but they had unity. You have unity, you're left alone. 169. V'chein nagozu v'avar mai v'chein nagozu v'nagozu miba'ile ele dahu resha dikra de'iu shalom of hachas shalom umayihu dat tzedakah begin ditzdaka dahu shalom Uman de aske bitzdaka, aske shalom leila, aske shalom latata. Uvagin kach naguzu abar. The gazaze mamon nihon bitzdaka. Vabavru mibaile. My ba'avar eladahu dina derogza. Kamadadomer ad yavor za'am. Abar dina mi alaihu.
He asks, what then is the meaning of the phrase, even so they shall be cut down? He answers, as it talks of peace in the beginning, here it likewise talks of peace, which means charity. For charity is peace, and whoever promotes charity promotes peace above and below.
So we're talking about peace, but the Zohar is drawing a direct connection between charity and peace. This is not tithing. Tithing is when I take 10% of my earnings and I give it to charity. Charity is everything I do above and beyond that. And charity isn't just financial. Charity is when I give of myself. When I volunteer. When I am a lay leader of a charity as opposed to a professional leader of a charity. When I help, set up the Hanukkah party and take down the Hanukkah party and put stuff away. These are all examples of me sharing of myself. When I give an ear to a friend that's going through a hard time and I don't judge them. There's nothing more powerful than listening to a friend going through a hard time. Because it enables them to process what they're going through. And B, it enables us to process what we're going through. And we need to be open to that. They're showing up to tell us something. Yes, they need to talk. But the light chose us to listen. I had a phone call with someone yesterday and they're like, it's bad time. I can't talk to you. I'm having a rough time. I'm like, well, tell me about it. I didn't think they were going to, but they did. So it's like, don't let people off the hook so easy. When they say they don't want to talk about it, they're in a terrible place. Don't look at what they say. Look at what they're doing. They're getting off the call. They're miserable. Because they have a movie playing in their head that they're not processing. They're stuck in a loop. Okay, keep going.
Hence the scripture reads, even so they shall be shorn, and it shall pass away. The word shorn refers to those who shear their money for charity.
By the way, charity, our teachers tell us this, the Kabbalists speak about this. Charity, when you give charity, it's one of the few times that you can actually attach a condition to what you do. I'm giving the charity because I want X. That's how powerful charity is. Go ahead.
Even so indicates that as the beginning talks of peace, here also it talks of peace, namely charity, as has been explained.
I wouldn't have, but for the Zohar, connected peace and charity. Remember, when we're sharing of ourselves, we're creating connections with people. We don't have an agenda. There's no agenda there. It's an agenda of sharing. That creates unity. Go ahead.
Of the phrase, it shall pass away, if he asks, should it have been written, they shall pass away in the plural, just as it is written, they will be cut down. Why
Okay,
is it?
Right. So in that verse, there's a conflict between plural and singular. We see this come up all the time. It's always asking a question. If it's plural in one case, why is it plural in the second case? In the second case, it's singular. They will be cut down. It should say, instead of it shall pass away, it should say they. Go ahead.
Why is it written, it shall pass away? He replies, the subject is wrathful judgment, just as in the verse. Until the indignation passes. It means until judgment passes away from them.
Okay, so because the verse is there to tell us that this is because it's judgment that passes away. When you give charity, it saves you from judgment. It saves you from death. And I don't just mean physical death. I mean, death of relationships, death of business, death of opportunities. When we give of ourselves, we're saying, I'm going to trust in the light. The light's going to work all this out for me. We're all engaged in processes, in circumstances that are going on in our lives, which are painful and challenging and just like drive us nuts. We all have that. Just do what you can do and invite the light in to finish the rest. That's it. Give charity and ask the light for help. Okay, we're out of time.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Chag Chanukah Sameach. Happy Hanukkah.
Chodesh Tov.
And Chodesh Tov. Tonight's the new moon.
Chodesh Tov.
Awesome. Hey, tonight's like, it's a triple header tonight.
Yeah.
Shabbat, Hanukkah, and new moon. So consciousness, like, ask for it all. This is the energy of miracles turbocharged. It's the perfect storm of channeling the energy of miracles in our life. All right, everybody. Love you all. Have a great Shabbat. Chag Sameach. Chodesh Tov. Thank you.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.